Hi, my name is Jim Walters, and if you like the idea of picking up a second paycheck without having to get a second job, then grab yourself a comfortable chair and listen up very carefully. Because over the next few minutes, I'm going to let you in on a little secret on how you, where you're sitting at right now, can cash in on an unusual $4.5 billion loophole in the sports and entertainment industry that's making average guys like me a ton of money in our spare time. What's more, this secret is so simple that you can actually start using it today to make all the money you want with so little effort, I swear you're going to feel guilty about it. But listen, I promise you, because of a bill passed by the House of Representatives, that everything I'm going to tell you today is perfectly legal, ethical, and it has nothing to do with betting, gambling, or in fact, anything else you've ever seen or heard before. However, before I tell you all about it, I got to warn you, some of the stuff I'm about to tell you in this video is going to be very hard for you to believe. And really, I don't expect you to buy a thing I'm saying right now at this point. Instead, just keep listening, and I'll tell you the story on how I discovered it, why it works, and then you decide if this is right for you. All right? Fair enough. All right, here's the story. Again, my name is Jim Walters, and about a year ago, my family and I fell on some really tough times that nearly bankrupted me. What happened is that my good friend and I, Rick, got the bright idea one day that we wanted to become our own boss and ended up investing our life savings in what appeared to be a sure shot business that was going to make us rich. Well, that's at least what we thought. Anyway, I'm going to spare you the painful details, but let's just say it didn't turn out to be what we expected. In fact, it turned out to be a horror show. And to make a long story short, the whole business went up in smoke like a brush fire in July, basically taking every dime we put into it, well, except two valuable antiques that have an unusual significance to this story, which I'm going to tell you all about in a minute. Anyway, while this was happening, I had a meeting with my tax guy, and he suggested Rick and I dissolve our partnership and go our separate ways until we figure out how much damage was done from this little escapade. I was all right with that, and so was Rick. We both were really stressed out at the time and needed some rest to think about what just happened. Now, the thing is, Rick had a big advantage over me, being that he had a much fatter bank account than I did. He made a whole bunch of money in the entertainment industry way back in the 80s, so he decided to take a long, extended vacation to figure all this out. Me, on the other hand, I wasn't so lucky. I needed a paycheck right away, so I spent my days, sometimes nights, desperately searching for a way to bring home some money to take care of the wife and kids, with, unfortunately, in this economy, I don't have to tell you, not too much luck. Anyway, this went on for about 3 months until one day, out of sheer desperation, I took the two antiques I told you about earlier that we had left over from the business to a local buyer to see how much money I could get for them to cover some bills. Well, it must have been my lucky day that day because I was offered over $3,000 cash for those two antiques, which was just enough to cover my unpaid bills, including the mortgage. Now listen, here's where the story gets really interesting. Just as I was about to take that stack of brand new crisp $100 bills and deposit it into the HIP bank, also known as my bank account, my damn conscience took over, and I realized half that cash belonged to my ex-partner, Rick. Look, as much as I needed the money, and as hard as it was for me at that time, I did the honest thing, and I sold the antiques, mailed Rick half the money with a handwritten note that simply said, "This is yours, buddy." Well, a few weeks go by. Out of the blue, take a wild guess who gives me a call. Well, it was Rick, basically telling me I should have just kept the money because he would have never known. I told him, as much as I needed the cash, you and I both know that is not the right thing to do, so I'm not going to do it. And just as I said that, the phone goes really quiet. At first, I thought this guy hung up on me or something, but after a few seconds, he blurted out something that nearly knocked me out of my chair. He says, "Look, Jimbo," that's what he calls me. "You and I known each other going on, 12 years now? I always knew you were a good friend and honest guy, but what you did by sending me my share of the money when you desperately needed it is the most honorable thing anyone's ever done for me." He then paused again for a second and said, "Jim, I got a confession to make, and it's something I have to get off my chest before I explode." By the tone of this guy's voice, I could tell it was something very, very important. Well, he went on to tell me last January he discovered by complete accident a money-making secret so powerful it's like nothing I've ever seen or heard before, and he'd like to share it with me. Now listen, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't jumping for joy at this point, even though I needed the money, because I was expecting him to go tell me about some complicated stock market trading system or some other new business he wanted to start with me, and I didn't have the cash or the energy to do it right now. Well, instead, he shocks the heck out of me and starts telling me how, through his contacts in the entertainment industry, he figured out a way to take advantage of an unusual loophole in the sports and concert industry that allowed him to go from making zero, listen to zero, to getting paid over $100,000, not in a month, not in a year, but in a week. And he did this in less than 4 months, and he did it all just by following his favorite sports teams and concerts. Then he goes on to say, because obviously I was about to blurt it out, but I think he figured out, kind of anticipated it. So he told me this had nothing to do with gambling, starting a new business, or doing any time-consuming or complicated stuff. In fact, he told me he works no more than 5 hours a week, and he does everything he needs to do out of the spare bedroom of his house without having to talk with anyone or sell anyone anything. Now, if you're anything like me, I bet good money you're saving to yourself, yeah, right, and that's probably the clean version. It's okay to admit, I said the same thing myself, and let's not forget I've known Rick for years, and even I thought the guy was nuts. But on the other hand, he didn't sound like he was kidding around, and the entire time I knew him, he never lied to me about a thing, never did anything to make me question what he ever said. So I begged him to tell me more, and over the next 15 minutes, let me tell you something, my jaw was on the ground. He told me the unusual story, how he stumbled upon this secret loophole, why it works, and most importantly, how I could use it myself to make all the money I want without leaving my house or using a penny of my own money. I'll be straight with you. Everything Rick said made perfect sense and was the most clever thing I have ever heard. I, like most people, took for granted that sports teams, music artists, perform just to entertain their fans. Now I know different, a heck of a lot different. But this whole idea still seemed too simple to work. So before I got my hopes up way too high, I wanted to see with my own two eyes what this was all about. So after the phone call, I picked one of my favorite sports teams and music artists, just like Rick told me to do. I sat at my kitchen table and did exactly what he said, which took no more than 20 minutes. Then I went on with the rest of my day, truly not believing any of this was going to work. Well, about 3 days later, again, just like he said, I discovered the shock of my life. With less than 20 minutes worth of work, and if you even want to call it that, just time invested, and without spending a dime of my own money, without me talking with anyone, without me selling anyone anything, without me providing a service, without me doing anything, I got a check in the mail for over $520. I admit, I was totally shocked. This money-making secret actually worked, and it worked a heck of a lot faster than I even thought. But even that couldn't prepare me for what happened over the next couple of weeks. That first trickle of money quickly turned into thousands and thousands of dollars on complete autopilot. Now listen, the craziest part about all this is, I swear, I did no real work. I'm not kidding with you. I didn't talk with anyone. I didn't have to sell, persuade, or do anything, and most importantly, the whole thing was stupid simple. I mean so simple, in fact, the entire method he actually used to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in a week out of the spare bedroom out of his house could be summed up on 2 to 3 sheets of paper. You'd understand it in a couple minutes, and you'd be using it the very same day. The thing is, all you need is a little common sense and the ability to follow simple step-by-step instructions, and in less than 24 hours, you could start getting a second paycheck without having to get a second job, with virtually no work following your favorite sports teams and concerts. And like I said before, this has nothing, let me repeat, nothing to do with gambling, sports betting, or starting some kind of business. No, this is a new and incredible way to capitalize on a $4.5 billion loophole not too many people know about in a way you cannot possibly imagine. All right, that's enough of me rambling. What does this have to do with anyway? And most importantly, how can you get a piece of the action? Well, you got 2 options. Number 1, you could try to figure out all this on your own. And in all honesty, good luck with that. Listen, I spent 20 years of my life buying different money-making plans through the mail, off the internet, just about everywhere I could find, and I've never seen or heard anything like this before. There are no books written about the subject, no magazines you could read about this hidden loophole. In fact, the only whispers I ever heard about it was from an old New York Times article, and they just glossed over the subject. Plus, I'm pretty certain Rick might just be the first person in the world to do it in this way, so I guess that means unless you know Rick, you'll never find out about it, because the way this loophole is all set up, everything is done in complete privacy without no one knowing what you do. That's why only a handful of insiders in this whole country know about this, and good luck trying to get them to talk. Now, the second way you can go about this, we'll call it option 2, is you can let me and Rick show you step by step exactly how to take advantage of this lucrative opportunity so you can start getting paid right away, absolutely free. Here's what I mean. With Rick's permission, I've written a comprehensive report that explains everything about this opportunity in full detail in a simple way anyone can understand. It's called Massive Profits in Sports and Concerts. In this easy to read special report, you're going to get the inside scoop on this opportunity that not 1 in a million people know about, several real life examples of how it worked, and most importantly, the exact step by step Rick and I are using to get paid thousands of dollars, in his case hundreds of thousands of dollars a week, by simply following sports and concerts, and how you can do the exact same thing with no special training or education starting in 25 minutes after you get this report. There's nothing complicated about it. It's based on knowing the secret and exploiting it legally and ethically for huge sums of money anytime you feel like it. Let me be clear on this. What you're getting is not some get-rich-quick scheme or work-at-home business opportunity or whatever they call that stuff. In fact, it has nothing to do with starting a business or providing any type of service to people. This is new and different. Again, what I'm talking about is a real opportunity for you to position yourself in front of this $4.5 billion cash flow that's going on right now and do it at the right time. This is crucial, and get paid for it while you're on vacation, at your job, or while sipping your morning coffee without you having to do any real work. Best of all, anyone could do this because there's nothing new or complicated to learn. You could do it if you're a man, woman, black, white, yellow, no matter if you're 18, 81, or even 101. Anyone can do it in anywhere in America without breaking a sweat. This is the closest you'll ever get to owning your own money machine, and like I said before, I want to give it to you absolutely free of charge. However, before I do that, there are 3 non-negotiable rules you need to agree with if you want in on this. Rule number 1, you need to agree not to sell, distribute, talk about this secret with anyone. This means your neighbor, no telling your brother-in-law, no telling anyone. So if after you learn this secret and you start buying a new car, house, RV, or whatnot, you need to figure out a way to explain how you're getting all this money without telling them about this. And I'm not kidding on this either. Included with your report will be a 1-page confidentiality agreement that you gotta sign and send back to me within 10 days of getting a report, which I will send by U.S. priority mail. Rule number 2, the zip code you live in must still be available. If it's not, I'll tell you how to find out in a minute. Please accept my apologies, but because of the nature of this opportunity, I can only allow 1 person per zip code to get in on this. Rule number 3, this is the most important. You and I need to be in constant contact. Without regular communication between you and me, there's no way I could do what I set out to do by writing this report in the first place, which is make us both a ton of money. You see, even though getting paid to follow sports and concerts is by far the simplest way for anyone to go from living paycheck to paycheck to having the power to start writing your own paycheck anytime you feel like it, it does have one flaw. And that flaw is the opportunity is so big, so massive, at times it can become overwhelming. The good news about that is on any given day you got hundreds of sports games, thousands of concerts happening all over the country, each with the potential to put thousands of dollars in your pocket without you having to virtually lift a finger. But now the bad part is, how do you know which one of those to choose from that's going to make you the most amount of money in the least amount of time? The report I'm going to give you for free gives you a crystal clear blueprint on how it's done, but it can't tell you what to do today, tomorrow, and next week because those variables are always changing. This is why it's absolutely crucial you and I have a direct line of communication. So, in short of you moving by me to Chicago, what I decided to do to fill this gap is to create a private syndicate, a small inner circle of people, only 1 person per zip code in this country with whom I and Rick could reveal the most profitable sports games and concerts coming up each and every week in real time. We call this group the Winner's Circle, and if you qualify to become a member, you will instantly get everything you need to start getting paid big bucks following sports and concerts starting right now. Here's how it works. As a member, you're not going to have to research, decipher, attempt to comb through the mountain of data required each week to find the most profitable games and concerts. Instead, each month, you're going to be sent a simple 3 to 6 page confidential document Rick and I call the hot sheet. And what this hot sheet does is it tells you in plain, easy to understand English exactly what Rick, I, and other members of the Winner's Circle are doing right now to make the most money with the current events happening that month. With this hot sheet, there's no DVD to watch or buy, there's no books to read or study on, nothing to learn at all, and most importantly, no research or no long learning curves. All you need to do is simply read the simple step-by-step instructions you get each month, follow the same sporting events and concerts we are following, and you'll make the same amount of money as us just by copying what we do. There's nothing for you to think about, nothing for you to figure out on your own. We do all that for you and hand it to you on a silver platter each month in what we call the hot sheet. That, my friend, can be worth a fortune to you. And it's perfect for people that are overworked, short on time, don't want to have to learn or figure anything out, and just want to start getting paid immediately. But like anything else, I'm going to tell you something. There is one catch. If you want in on the action, you don't have forever to make up your mind. Look, it should come as no surprise to you that I have a hidden reason for even doing this. I mean, why else would I hand you, for a lack of a better word, a treasure map each month, already proven to work, even if you paid me $10,000, $20,000, or even $50,000 for it? Well, the truth is I wouldn't, except for the fact the way this works is the faster I can get checks in your hand, the more money I'm going to make by doing this, which I'm already doing, and that's the reason why you're seeing this video in the first place. However, that doesn't mean I'm just going to give this away to anyone who raises their hand. No, I need some way of separating the talkers from the doers to make this work for both of us. And in my experience of doing it, the best way of doing that is by charging a little bit of money. So here's the deal. If you want to become a member of our group and be spoon-fed potentially thousands of dollars in profits a week without you having to lift a finger, type in your zip code below and click the button. One of two things is going to happen then. Either you're going to get a message that says your zip code has already been spoken for, or you'll be automatically directed to our 100% secure priority acceptance form, where you will be able to instantly enroll as a member of the Winner's Circle, which entitles you to massive profits in sports and concerts special report and this month's extremely valuable hot sheet. So, if you're anything like me, you're probably wondering, how much money are we talking about here? Well, the cost for membership to Winner's Circle, your copy of Massive Profits in Sports and Concerts Special Report, and monthly hot sheet comes out to just $59 a month, which you can cancel at any time, and make sure to ask your tax guy, because this could very well be written off on your taxes as educational materials. And I'm sorry, the $59 a month, that's sofa cushion money when you put all this in perspective. I mean, think about it. That's less money than you shell out for a tank full of gas or a cup of cheap coffee every day, yet it gives you the instant opportunity to get paid thousands, and depending on how you play your cards, tens of thousands of dollars a week by following sports and concerts and piggybacking on Rick and I's research. You're already watching sports, you're already listening to music. Why not get paid big bucks for it, especially if it doesn't require any real work on your part? I am, Rick is, and a select few insiders across the country are, and now you can too for less cost than a decent dinner for two. In fact, the amount I'm charging you is barely enough money for me to even set up this website, take orders, and send you the materials, so you're really getting a steal here. However, I realize you don't know me from any Tom, Dick, or Harry on the street, and you're probably skeptical about this. After all, the idea of getting paid incredible amounts of money starting within 24 hours following sports and concerts without doing any real work does seem kind of far-fetched. I get it. I'd feel the same way if I was in your shoes too. And besides that, how do you know, and I mean really know what I'm telling you is even true? Well, unfortunately, I'll be honest with you, you don't. And no matter what I tell you, until you get a copy of the Massive Profits in Sports and Concerts and review this month's hot sheet, and see the evidence for yourself, you're still going to have doubts no matter what I say. And to this, let me tell you, and I really mean this in all sincerity, there comes a time in life when you just got to pull the trigger and just trust someone and just go ahead and give it a shot. Because the fact remains, until you do that, you'll never know what it's like. You'll never know if I was just full of hot air, or perhaps I just handed you the opportunity of a lifetime on a silver platter and you just let it slip by. Again, the only way you're really going to find this out is by taking action now. Besides that, I'm going to make this decision real easy on you, and I'm going to stick my neck out and give you a full 60 days to test drive your membership to the Winner's Circle, free of any risk. Here's what I mean. If by the end of 60 days, listen carefully, the second paycheck you get from the club doesn't exceed your current one you're getting, and I don't care how much you're making, then I'm going to refund 100% of your $59 membership fee, and I'll let you keep the copy of Massive Profits in Sports and Concerts as a way of me saying thanks for giving this a shot. All I ask from you is I ask you just try it. 2 to 3 days. It's take a couple minutes and look it over for 2 to 3 days. Pretend you're doing what we tell you to do in the privacy of your home. Don't do it, just pretend, and just see what happens. That's all. Then and only then do I want you to decide. And if I'm wrong, like I said, you get your money back and we part as friends. When you think about it, the only way you can truly lose is if you fail to secure your zip code and try this out yourself. So right now, at this very moment, take a second, type in your zip code below, and let's first see if it's available. If it isn't, again, I apologize. However, if it is available, then I urge you to fill out the priority acceptance form immediately, and 3 things are going to happen after that. You'll get a personal email welcoming you to the Winner's Circle and telling you what's on the agenda for this month and when you should expect this month's hot sheet, and my phone number in case you have any questions. 2, my assistant Lisa is going to send you a copy of Massive Profits in Sports and Concerts and this month's hot sheet via UPS today. Remember, the report will show you the exact formula Rick used to go from making absolutely zero to over $100,000 a week. And the hot sheet will tell you exactly what we are doing right now, today, this week, to get paid big bucks. The third thing that's going to happen is your credit card is going to be billed for only $59 today, and each 30 days for as long as you stay a member. There are no contracts or fine print to this. If for some odd reason, after 30 days or before 30 days, you want to cancel your membership, you can do that by calling my office, emailing me, or even writing me a letter if you want. All my contact information is printed clearly on the material you get, so it's not hard to find. With that being said, go ahead and type in your zip code below, and let's lock this in while you still have a chance, and let's start getting you paid right away so you can finally make all the naysayers in your life green with envy, wishing they knew the secret that allowed you to jump way ahead of them. This can do that for you. In closing, I want you to know something, and in all sincerity, regardless of what you decide, I'm not trying to be rude, 1 month is going to pass by with or without you. And average guys like me are going to continue making big bucks following sports and concerts. This can easily include you if you just put your skepticism aside and give this a risk-free shot. Believe it or not, as crazy as this may sound, the fact of the matter is, ask any well-to-do person if you don't believe me, getting rich, making a lot of money, or becoming financially free, whatever your goal is, isn't that difficult. It's about finding the right opportunity at the right time, getting involved with the right people who already have systems in place so you can piggyback on their efforts and make money automatically. And now with the Winner's Circle, you have all 4 of those elements in place, allowing you to carve out a piece of this $4.5 billion loophole starting today without you having to figure it out all on your own. We did all that for you. The key is joining now while you still have a chance, because I can promise you, if you close out this page without joining, or to think about it for a while or whatever, and someone in your zip code lands on this website, I promise you're going to regret that decision for years to come. Don't let this happen to you. It's not that big of an investment. It's totally risk-free. Just let me prove this to you. Simply type in your zip code below, and let's lock everyone else out who lives near you out of this opportunity today. One more thing. I want you to ask yourself this question. A month from now, a year from now, or even 10 years from now, if you keep doing what you're currently doing, are you going to be any richer, happier, or have more freedom? Or are you just going to be years older? Look, I'm not going to sit here and preach at you, but you, me, everyone else, we only got one shot at this thing we call life. And the way I figure it is, why not make it full of new experiences, abundance, and freedom, instead of making it a repeat of the last 5 years? Well, that's enough for me preaching. I told you the offer. Now it's up for you to decide. I take care, and I look forward to seeing and working with you as a new member of our elite group. Thanks.